But guys, you know who this is. Look, I'm here to talk about some basketball. Basketball. We're talking about basketball. Look, when you're a Kentucky fan, basketball is everywhere. That's what you live. That's what you breathe. That's what you eat. That's everywhere. That's all people talk about. So I want to talk about some basketball today, and it's always fun to talk about basketball when you can talk about when your conference has to play another conference that says that they may be better than you guys. So look, I don't see it how the ACC is better than the SEC, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The SEC ACC challenge. Look, 2024. This is about to be fun. I think if you look down the matchups, if you look down how each team finished last year, as I break this down just briefly, we're going to be here just kind of briefly, but we're going to kind of break it down the records and stuff like that from last year. And then I'm going to try my best to give a completely unbiased. Now, I'm a Kentucky fan. You can see it, but I got on a SEC shirt. It might not look like it is, but it's a SEC shirt. Don't really use it anymore, but it's tended to be for a second to none group that I have that covers the SEC. So I'm going to try my best to be completely unbiased and just really call it what it is. And believe me, just because I'm a SEC fan doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and say that the SEC is going to win every ball game. That would be foolish. I would lose what little credibility that I have. I would lose that also. So with that, I'm just going to just give you my thoughts just briefly about who I think is going to win. And at the end of and at end of the challenge, we're going to tally up. So every time I call out who I think is going to win the game, then I'm gonna put down the line for it. And at the end, we'll see who I think. And then when the games are played, we'll have a chance to go back and maybe review this and say, yeah, dude, you was really off, really, really off. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do right here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna circle who I have on the side so I can so it'll be a little easier or whatever, so we can go back. But I'm gonna take this right here down right here. I'm gonna do this right here, and when that comes down, I'm gonna bring this right here up for us. Where is that at? Right here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep this down. I don't want. Let me see. I think I'm gonna do this right here. So we're gonna just talk about these games. Look, I'm so pumped up about it. Look, I know that probably the best conference in college basketball, if we being real, is most likely the Big 12. And I don't think many people will fight me on it. I do think that they're the best team. I mean that they're the best conference, but I don't think the SEC is very far behind. But in my opinion, I don't think the ACC is better than the SEC. They're just not. So with that being said, man, let's just jump into some of these games and let's just see who. And look, don't forget to leave your comments down below and tell me what you think about my predictions, because I want to hear your predictions. I want to hear which one of these games that I get it wrong and maybe why. So you guys can tell me. So let's just jump into this first ball game. The ACC Challenge jumps off on Tuesday, December the 3rd and December the 4th. The first game of the night that I'm going to cover is University of Miami versus Arkansas Razorbacks. Last year, Miami went 15-17. Arkansas went 16-17. Now, what the big hype is going to be, and as you can see, is that it's going to be on ESPN. The big story is John Calipari. He's in Arkansas now. Every time that team comes and plays a game, they're going to be showing John Calipari. It was no different at Kentucky. Between Kentucky and John Calipari, the TV time was real. It was always every single game they're going to get that game time. People want to see what John Calipari can do in red this year. And with Miami not, the year before Miami went to the Final Four. Last year they had a very bad year. Arkansas didn't have a great year as well. But I think in this challenge, and only because Arkansas is at home. Maybe if Miami was at home, maybe they would get the crowd behind them. Maybe they can get on a run, and maybe they can, so maybe they can stop them. I think the X factor of this one game will probably be Adu, as strong as he is, which he was at Kentucky last year with Cal. And in this game right here, I am going with the SEC, and I'm going to say Arkansas is going to win this game, and it won't even be close. So I'm gonna circle that game, and I'm gonna tally down for that right there. Next, we got Syracuse at Tennessee. Actually, my apologies. Let me go back up for a second. the the University of Miami is actually at home. My apologies for that. They're actually at home against Arkansas. So I still, even though, and I just sat here and said that maybe if they was home, they might get that edge. I don't know if I really believe that. I believe that Coach Cal takes his team on the road. I think all eyes are going to be on these guys, and I think these guys are going to go on the road, and I think they're going to beat Miami easy at Miami. And like I said, I'm going to stick with my pick, even though Miami's at home. I'm going to go ahead and say that Arkansas will still get that. I just think Arkansas is going to have too much firepower. They got the number one transfer portal out there last year. He's coming to the team. He's one of the best in the nations. I think Arkansas goes on the road to Miami, and I think they actually get a win. Um, so my apologies for that as well too. I completely misread who's at home and who's at away. So next we got the Syracuse and the Tennessee game. You know, the Orange is just not the Orangemen. They're just not who they used to be back in the day. They get a couple of wins here and there. They get hot. They can kind of go on the streak in a ball game, and they can win some games. But I'm not ready to give. I'm not ready to say that you're going to go to Tennessee and Knoxville and get that W. I just like I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'm definitely putting my money straight on Tennessee to take care of business. And once again, I do not think this is going to be a close game. Tennessee's going to be hyped. The crowd at Tennessee is almost like none other, and I think those guys there are going to is going to be the X factor for Tennessee. And I think Coach Barnes is going to have these guys ready to go. And I think Tennessee wins this hands down. So I'm gonna give this to Tennessee by a long shot. You just can't look. Tennessee doesn't win. Tennessee doesn't lose games at home very often. So I mean, it's very seldom. Kentucky beat them at home, but a lot of other people is not qualified to beat Tennessee at home on their home floor, and only because of that. And well, not only because of that, I just think Tennessee's going to be a better team this year, and that's why I'm going to go with Tennessee in this ball game. So I got Tennessee, and I got the SEC with 2 games. Next up, we got Notre Dame and Georgia. Neither one of these teams really. Georgia got the 20 games last year at 20 and 17. Notre Dame had an abysmal year at 13 and 20. They got Notre Dame actually goes on the road to Georgia. I, you know, if you get a tough fought Notre Dame team, even though their record was only 13 and 20 last year, if you get the tough fighting Notre Dame team that can actually go on the road to Georgia, I, you know, Georgia can get hot. Georgia have the crowd, but once if you can take Georgia's crowd out of it, which is not all that great per se, but they can get rowdy. And I think if Notre Dame can take their crowd, slow the game down, and run the game how they want to run it, I just don't see why Notre Dame can't go into Georgia and knock these guys off. Georgia's one of those teams where tonight they're gonna have a really good night, and then tomorrow night you're gonna be like, dude, that wasn't even the same team that was on the floor 2 nights ago. So it just depends on kind of what team Georgia shows up. But at the end of the day, I really think Notre Dame. I really like this Notre Dame team to go on the road to Georgia and knock these guys off at home. So I'm going with Georgia. It may be a close game, no more than probably 7 points in with the victory. But I think Notre Dame down the stretch will find a way to get this job done, and that's why I'm picking Notre Dame to beat Georgia. Who we got? Boston College and South Carolina. Ooh, I don't know. Boston College was 20 and 16 last year. South Carolina was 26 and 8. Those guys had a very, very surprising year, but South Carolina did lose one of their key players. Can't remember his name, but he was a really, really solid player for him. Really good defense guy as well too. But they lost him, and he hit the transfer portal immediately, which was really shocking because nobody really thought he was going to hit the transfer portal as well. But if you can if if you take the same South Carolina team minus I can't think of his name, dude. I cannot think of his name. But if you know who I'm talking about, please in the comments down below, please let me know who the guy I'm talking about. I can't remember, but I know the transfer portal was so big this year, and a lot of people hit it. But I really Boston College, like I said, came in at 2016. South Carolina came in at 26 and 8. South Carolina is actually going to be in Boston College. They got to go on the road. I don't know, man. This right here can be a tough game too. You don't know, South Carolina, you want to say, oh yeah, South Carolina, man, these guys, maybe they making that turn. Maybe these guys are going to come up. Maybe these guys are starting to be a team that maybe people should pay attention to. But then they play a couple of games and you're like, yep, that's the South Carolina that we remember. It's just a team that gets up just to goes back down. But they had a really great year last year, and because of that, maybe they might be riding over to that next year. But I mean, Boston College won 20 games too as well. So at the end of the day, I just think it's going to be a close game. I think, but I'm going to give the edge to the home team this time, and I'm going to go with Boston College. I mean, look, guys, being at home can make a big difference for a lot of these teams. Just being at home, being in your environment can make a huge of a difference. If it's one of those games that could possibly be close, the thing that I like about South Carolina is so fast. These guys will move. They get up and down the court. They love to shoot the three. I didn't, of course, me being an SEC guy, I didn't really follow the ACC a lot. You kind of dibble and dabble here and there as far as trying to see what the teams are doing. But I think because Boston College, I think those guys are going to be at home. They want to pull their weight within the ACC, and I think because of them being home and them wanting to continue to have maybe a successful year this year, like they did. Of course, I mean, 20-16, that ain't really that great, to be honest with you. I mean, it ain't a 26-8, but I think Boston College basically takes South Carolina and beat them in a close ball game on the road there. I'm for sure. So I'm gonna go with Boston College in that one, and I'm gonna put 2 down here for ACC. So we tied right now after 4 games. We tied. Next we got Cal. Welcome to the ACC, and we gonna make sure that we welcome you to the SEC because you got to go to Missouri for this. Now, Missouri 2 years ago had a very solid year. They had a really, really solid year. They lost some players. This year, I guess they was rebuilding. I don't really know how they really did in the transfer portal. So hopefully, if they did decent, maybe they can pull it together and they can find a way to kind of duplicate a little bit of the year that they had previously, and maybe they can bring Cal in there. Cal finished the year at 13-19, and where's that at? Oh, hold on. Where's that at? Where's that at? I got Boston College in South Carolina, don't I? Yeah. No. I'm going to Cal, right? Oh, Cal and in Missouri. Well, I don't know. Yeah, in Missouri. Missouri went 8-24. So when looking at this right here, um, Missouri, I don't know. You at home, maybe you'll get a win, but I'm gonna give the benefit of Cal. Cal wanting to come in, being the newcomer. They also want to show. They also want to pull their weight within the SEC. I mean, in the ACC as well too. I think. You know what? Ah, man. Nope. You know what? I'm sticking with Missouri. Missouri's at home. Missouri got a really solid crowd. When those guys get on fire, they like to win for their coach. And because of that, Cal, your first SEC ACC challenge, you're gonna take a loss. I'm going with Missouri. So I got Missouri down for that. Next one, we got Georgia Tech and Oklahoma. Ooh, well, Kentucky got a player from Oklahoma in Ortega. Georgia Tech, they actually, let me go back up. I don't know why I did this, and I did this when I was writing down the information. Let's go Wake Forest and Texas. I'm not sure how I'll skip over that twice in a row. Let's go to Wake Forest and Texas A&M. Wake Forest finished at 21-14. Texas A&M finished at 21-15. Look, Texas A&M got some dogs down there. Kentucky found out the hard way twice. Twice they found out the hard way. I don't think Texas A&M falls off very much this year, and I'm just going to call it what it is. Wake Forest actually lost Carr, which is now over at Kentucky, which was a primetime shooter for those guys, which was a power four. Because of that, I really think even where this game is being played in College Station, Wake Forest is going to go down, and they're going to take this loss to Texas A&M because I think those guys just got too much for them. Texas A&M is way too physical, and Wake Forest is not going to know what hit them. And I think Texas A&M is going to show up, and they're going to show those guys why they in the SEC. And when I was looking at this right here, I definitely didn't want to. I definitely didn't want to be biased, But I understand how good Texas A&M really is. Those guys are really good, and like I said, Kentucky found out the hard way, and they're not going to just have a year like they have this year and then just let it go down. Even though they lost 15 games, I still think they had a decent year. They had some wins that they can build on going into the future. And I think when you beat Kentucky twice convincingly, you you kind of feel like you can still play basketball. So in this one, I'm going to go with Texas A&M over Wake Forest, and I think they're going to win by 10 plus. So so right now, just to recap, I got 4-2 in favor of the SEC. Oh, it's going to get tough. It's getting tough here. Um, got so now we're gonna go to Georgia Tech and Oklahoma. In this one, it's at Oklahoma. Oklahoma lost Garrison, who's at Kentucky right now too as well. Georgia Tech, it's kind of one of those teams where because they got to go, they're gonna have to. It's a 9 p.m. ball game. Georgia Tech and Oklahoma. See, I didn't really watch Oklahoma a whole lot, and of course, I didn't watch. But here's the thing though, Oklahoma's coming out of the Big 12. Oklahoma's coming out of some big games from last year from just playing with the experience of playing in the Big 12. And because of that, I think that's what's going to help those guys be efficient. I think that's what's going to help those guys because Oklahoma last year the records was 13-20 for Georgia Tech and 20-12 for Oklahoma. So I really think even though they lost a good center in Garrison, I really still feel like Oklahoma at home up under that crowd at 9 p.m. I think the crowd is just going to be too much for Georgia Tech, and I think Oklahoma is going to overwhelm it. And that's not because they're in the SEC this year, because I never really thought they was all that great anyhow to be, since Buddy Hyde left. They ain't really and I think it's Trey Young or whatever his name was, since he left. So so they ain't really just been all that great. But I got Oklahoma at home. I think this is one of those situations where home court advantage really will make a difference in this ball game as well. But if you think Georgia Tech is going to go to Oklahoma and just lay down and just lose that ball game, then that is false. So for me, I really feel like that Georgia Tech is going to go out to Oklahoma and they're going to make this a real ball game. But I think being at home, I really think that Oklahoma finds a way to win this ball game. So I'm gonna put Oklahoma in this, and I'm gonna put right down here. I think my video is kind of lagging a little bit. I was really trying to make sure that I fixed this before I actually went live or did the video. So hopefully it's not lagging too much. I really don't. I think it really is, and which is really, really frustrating for me. Next, we're gonna go on to LSU. We're gonna go on to Louisville and Ole Miss. I'm just gonna tell you right now, Louisville's winning this ball game. I think Louisville's out. They got a new coach in. I think the new coach is like, I'm not having it. We're not losing. We're not going to be the laughing stock of the ACC no more, and we are going to make a difference. And because of that, I really feel like Louisville would get this W, and I don't think it's going to be close. Louisville's actually at home, so because of that, I really think that this is not even going to be a close game, and I think Louisville's going to take care of business. To set a precedence for the year is that we're not that same team that we used to be. We're back, and we're going to play, and we're here to play basketball. So I'm going to give Louisville that win, and I'm going to give the ACC another win. Next we got LSU and you got Florida State at LSU, which is the game that most people maybe thought that we wanted in football this year, but it turned out FSU is pretty much garbage in football this year. But anyway, with this competition going on, LSU is known for finding a way to win the games at buzzers. Like I don't know what it is about them and buzzer beaters. But those guys find a way. They're always around the rim, and in close games, you don't want the ball in their hand, and you don't want them to have a second chance point or a second chance to be able to tip the ball back in. And because of that, if you can just box those guys out, if the ball goes up and just block them out, if the ball comes off the rim, if they can't get it, they won't win. If you let them get a second chance at the rim at a putback, they will find a way to win the ball game. So if FSU, who's coming off LSU was FSU was 17-16 last year. LSU was 17-16. These guys had the same schedule yesterday. I think this is what's going to make this so interesting when they actually get together and play. And with this being said, I really think in this situation, I think FSU goes on the road and beats LSU at their house. So I got LSU. I'm sorry, I got FSU. This is confusing when you got to say all this at the same time. So I got FSU beating LSU at LSU. So I'm gonna go with that game. So that's another one for ACC. Next, I think we got the for the night. That's this is the this is the game of game, baby. And look, I'm sorry. Let's gonna beat around the bush. This is going to be a hard game for either team. I don't think it's just gonna be a blowout game. I don't think it's just gonna be a game where either team runs in there and just beat somebody by 20 points. I think this is gonna go down to the end. Ever who controls the ball, limits the turnovers, blocks out, plays hard defense, and can knock down some threes. And because of that, I'm going with my Kentucky Wildcats. Let's get them, big cats. Let's get them, baby. Yeah, I got the Wildcats winning this game by 8. Absolutely. It's not gonna be look. I'm a Kentucky fan, okay, but let's don't trip. This ain't gonna be an easy game. This is not going to be an easy game at all. Clemson's coming off a Clemson was 24-12 last year. Kentucky was 23-10, and we know how both of these teams ended last year. Clemson made a much further run in the tournament. Kentucky got dropped by Oakland. Do I need to say more? No, I don't. So I got Kentucky winning this game by 8. I think I said 8, 7 or 8 points. That's what I got Kentucky winning by, but it ain't gonna be a blowout. And if it is, then I'll be shocked. Just because Clemson, they got a lot of returning older guys coming back. You got Kentucky, who got some guys who want to get out there and prove that they belong in the ACC, that they belong at this level. Because we got a lot of guys that's kind of coming up, and now they're playing up. Per se, and because of that, these guys want to show. Hey, I'm in SEC. I can play SEC basketball, and I think they want to represent Kentucky, and they want to represent the SEC the best that they can. And because of that, I think that Kentucky gets the win, but it ain't gonna be easy. And one more thing about this ball game, even though Clemson has a lot of guys returning, a lot of older guys. Don't forget that Kentucky is one of the oldest teams in basketball still. So, hey, we got experience. You got experience. Let's get on the floor and let's see who's the best team tonight. And that's what they're going to do. But I got Kentucky winning by 8 on the road at Clemson. Absolutely. So now we move on to Wednesday, December 4th. So that top game right there is the Alabama and the North Carolina. I'm going to come back to that ball game. That's going to be the last one that I cover. Okay, let's get into Virginia and Florida. Virginia finished the year at 23-11. Florida ended at 24-12. Florida came on tough last year. They came on tough. But if Virginia can slow this down, play very slow basketball, because Virginia's at Florida. If they can find a way to slow it down at Florida, take that crowd and make them sit down on their hands and take them out of the ball game, Virginia's too tough. And I really believe that even though Florida's going to fly up and down the floor, Florida's got some good players down there. They got a big, tall guy down there. I really feel like that if Virginia can slow the game down and play their game and force Florida to play what they want them to play, I think Virginia goes on the road at Florida and gets its W. I got Virginia over Florida. Maybe about 5 or 6 points. I don't think it's not going to be a blowout, but I got Virginia winning. I really think those guys are going to. I think Bennett's going to take his team down there, and those guys are going to find a way to win this ball game. And I got Virginia on the road at Florida. Absolutely. Ooh, that's tough to say too, because Florida's going to be good. Florida knocked off Kentucky last year, so we tied. We're tied at 5-5 right now. We got what four games to go? I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got like 5 games to go. Because I think last year we didn't have it because I don't think Vandy was in it last year, and neither was Cal. So we had to add that extra game so Vandy can get into it as well too. Next is Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt had a big win against Virginia Tech in football. Those guys are going to be hyped up to show the football team that they can win as well. Vandy's going to be home. Vandy got some solid transfers in this year. They actually pulled some guys from the ACC from last year. So I know my boy Chris is really excited about his basketball team this year and bringing in Virginia Tech to actually be in the ACC SEC challenge. You know he's really pumped up about it. And, sometimes the crowd at Vandy can really get into it. And if they are as good as hopefully as they're advertised with their new head coach, and if they're as good as they're advertised, then I really think Vanderbilt at home wants to show everybody as well too. Look, this is a new team. This is post Jack Stackhouse. So it's a new era. We doing this right, and we're gonna start out and we want to win. We want to represent the SEC the best we can as well too, and we're gonna go out here at home and we're gonna beat Virginia Tech on our floor. There you have it. I got Vandy. Woo! Why would I say that for? That is very unusual. And believe me, I never cheer for Vandy to win ever. But I really think Vandy with the new team they got, the new coach, he's man. Vandy, don't disappoint me. I got you winning this ball game because if you lose, Vandy, I ain't never gonna pick for you again at all, never. So I got Vandy winning this ball game. I got that 6-5 in favor of the SEC right now. Now we got Duke and Auburn. Duke is national championship level team, number one player in the nation. Auburn is going to be at home. No. Duke's at home in this game. I know they got Brom coming back. Bruce Pearl's not ready for this. I know he's going to sweat. But there's no way I'm choosing Auburn over Duke when Duke's at home at night against those guys. I just don't think Auburn's going to have enough to run with these guys. I just don't. I think Duke is going to try to make an example out of Auburn that night. That's going to be crazy. I got Duke winning versus Auburn on the road. At home. Come on, man. Auburn's not going to go in there and beat Duke at home in their house. Ain't no way, man. Them Dookie fans, they crazy, bro. That crowd's crazy. So, Auburn, you're going to take an L that night against Duke. Absolutely. Next, we got North Carolina State and Texas. Actually, Duke last year finished Virginia Tech finished 19-15. Vandy finished 9-23. But I think, like I said, it's a new era in Vandy. Duke went 27-9 last year. Auburn went 27-8. So as you can see, this is not where Auburn's not a bad team. I'm not gonna go out here and say Auburn's a horrible team. I'm not gonna say anything like that. Believe me when I say that. It's not even that kind of show. But I think at home with Duke, with their crazies, now Duke is going to have a lot of diaper dandies that night, as Dickie V would say. Absolutely. That's why I got Duke to actually win. Next, we got North Carolina State, went 26-15, and Texas coming over from the Big 12. They went 21-13. North Carolina's coming off their fabulous special Cinderella year, going to the championship game last year, losing it to Purdue. These guys are gonna rewind it. These guys are coming back. These guys are gonna want to play hard at a hard level. They're actually going to be at home against Texas, rightfully so. If you go to the championship game and big games and big events like this, you have earned the right to play at home in this challenge. So that being said, North Carolina State's going to come in. They still got their big guy in the middle, and because of that, I really feel like Texas. You tried to represent the SEC your first year here. I just don't think you're going to get it done. I really, really think North Carolina State is going to come in here that they're going to be at home and they're going to beat you. Texas, you will lose that game against North Carolina State. But here's my thing about North Carolina State. Like that was a shocker to everybody. Like their coach was out the door. He was just coaching just to finish the season. And then they just went on a run in the ACC and they didn't lose no more into the championship game. I don't know. Did that just unlock something very special? I don't know. But North Carolina State, I can't go with I'm not able to go against these guys until they show me that was a complete fluke what they did. But if they're bringing back a lot of their guys, and these guys are coming back, North Carolina State, these guys they're gonna want to beat Texas, and I got Texas falling to North Carolina State. Pitt and Mississippi State. The reason why I have Pitt went 22-11 last year. Mississippi State went 21 and was that 21-14? I think. Let me see something for a second. I don't know. 21-14 last year. Mississippi State at home is no easy task. No easy task whatsoever. And because of that, I know Pitt won 22 games last year. Much respect to you guys. But I'm sorry, dude. I just in Mississippi State, it's gonna be a whiteout probably. Nah, Pitt, you're not winning that game, dog. I'm telling you right now, man. Going down to Mississippi State and playing, no sir. That's just not gonna happen. I got Mississippi State beating Pitt, man. I just think I don't know, man. Mississippi State at home, man. These guys, they play good basketball. They took Kentucky down to the wire last year. If it wasn't for Reed Shepherd, thank you. If it wasn't for Reed Shepherd hitting that game winner, we would have went in overtime, and I don't know if we would have survived down there. I just don't. So I'm gonna go Mississippi State beating Pitt, and I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but I think this is when if you ever want to look at a situation where the home court really 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 makes a difference, I think this is one of those games like a Duke. I think really this Mississippi State game is going to give these guys, the crowd is going to give the pits. I really do. So I got Mississippi State winning this ball game. And the last one here, which I think, even though I'm a Kentucky fan, let's be real. College basketball is a game of guards. And North Carolina and Alabama got two of the best guards in the country. Both of these guys are going to be early candidates for Player of the Year. Period. I know it. You know it. These guys are going to be now. I mean, yeah, this is going to be a game. It's going to be at North Carolina. Alabama is going to have to go on a road. Alabama is not necessarily a great road, not a great road team. They play really good at home, but they're not always that great. That they take some knocks on the chins when they go on the road a lot of times. And when you look at that and you look at the crowd of North Carolina and who they're going to be and what they want to accomplish this year, come on, man. Come on. I don't know how I put and everyone's already putting Alabama as being like a team that can make a run all the way to the Final Four, all the way to the championship game. That's how good Alabama is projected to be. And I get all of that. But I just don't know if Alabama's going to have enough to go into North Carolina and knock those guys off. I just don't. Oh man, this is tough, and that's why I saved this game for last. And I'm a Kentucky guy, as you can see behind me, and I think this Duke and Auburn game may be good, but this North Carolina and Alabama game, I'm glad Kentucky and Clemson doesn't have to follow that game. I'm glad we the last game on the 3rd, and they open up the night at the blockbuster game on Wednesday, Alabama and North Carolina. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I can't even give a prediction for this ball game because I don't know. And if I guess if I have to tip it, Alabama's gonna have to hit 33 pointers that night. They're gonna have to at least take 50 to beat these guys. The crowd, they gotta take the crowd out of it fast, fast. If they can do that, they can beat North Carolina. If not, oh wee man, I just got a feeling North Carolina's gonna take this ball game, bro. I just do. I just think North Carolina's going to take this ball game, and that's a tough one. But I think North Carolina is going to prove that these guys are going to be a real contender this year, and because of that, these guys are going. They're one of those teams that's going to protect home court at all cost, at all cost, and because of that, I have to give North Carolina the edge in this ball game. So I got North Carolina beating Alabama in a close nail biter game that we will remember for a long time. Well, if you're an Alabama and North Carolina game fan, you'll remember that. You'll remember that game for a long time. So I'm going with North Carolina to win this ball game. That's tough, man. It is, but I got to go with them. Oh, did I? I didn't forget nobody, did I? Oh, I gotta do this. I'm not sure if I got this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. Somewhere I'm off. Let me see. I'll put my score in the bottom because I want to see you guys' score as well too. Because we're gonna go back on December the 3rd. We're gonna go back on December the 3rd, and we're going to do it. I got Arkansas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a tie. I actually got it as a tie. Last year was 7-7 tie. Now I got it 8-8. I wanted to be completely unbiased on this. I wanted to really look at the team, look at the score, look at the record from last year, and just kind of just have fun with it from last year. But I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, man, this is going to be tough, and this is going to be a very um, 2024 ACC SEC challenge is going to be the toughest that it's been since it's been going on. And I think people are going to be fighting in this game. I think people are going to be scrapping. And for me, I think this is just going to be one of those two nights that we as college basketball fans are going to look back and we're going to appreciate what we saw in these games for the 2024 ACC or SEC ACC challenge. Man, this is going to be fun. Basketball season is right around the corner. We getting ready to get it. I look forward to hearing you guys' comments. What did I get wrong? Who did I miss? What's some factors in some of these games that maybe I didn't mention? But at the end of the day, this is going to be a good basketball game. And at the end of the day, when I'm looking at the schedule, if I'm really being honest, really being honest, I can see 1, 2, maybe 3. I can only see 3 games where it really might be a blowouts, and that's going to be the Syracuse and Tennessee, maybe the Arkansas and Miami, and also I think Louisville's going to run off against Ole Miss. I think those are probably going to be the 3 games that's going to be boring. But I think everything else, everybody's going to scrap for what they do. I think that Cal and Missouri game is going to be interesting. Not really know which team's gonna show up. So we'll see how that actually goes. So hey, thank you guys for joining in. I really do appreciate you guys jumping on with me and enjoying the video. Um, don't forget to make sure that you please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and most of all, man, let me know what you guys think, man. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Where did I miss it at? Like I said, these are just my thoughts. I know you got your thoughts. Please don't tell me how stupid I am or whatever. Once again, these are my thoughts. I want to hear yours. Put it right down here in the comments. Hit that like, subscribe button. And until next time, thanks for joining in. This is the Lawyer BBN Fan Show. I'm your host, Mike, and I am out.